As an F1 content creator and social media executive, it's safe to say I've had my fair run-in with Formula One drivers. Some of them were great, and some of them, well, they were just a little bit embarrassing. So today we're going to have a look at all of my F1 driver and personnel interactions from what has been about 2.5 years now of doing F1 social media work. So without further ado, let's jump into my very first driver interaction, which came at the end of 2022. Now, a little bit of context, I started doing F1 social media work about September of 2022, so just a few months later, I met my first driver, the adopted Australian himself, Valtteri Bottas. So here we have it. This was my first ever driver interaction with Valtteri Bottas and his partner, Tiff Cromwell. Now, what were they doing here? Well, this is in Adelaide, as a matter of fact, and it was during the F1 off-season where he was spending time staying in Adelaide as he does now, which is pretty cool. And I caught wind of the fact that there was a chance that they could be going to this certain location. I saw him walk around the corner, and got to give it to him, he blends in pretty damn well. So much so that literally nobody else recognized him, and I was able to get a photo with him, and I even got something signed too. So this is literally, I just got a few photos with him, asked him how they were going, said, enjoy, it is what you're doing, and just, yeah, good to see you sort of thing. It was like 10 seconds, and I asked him if he could sign something for me, which now, in hindsight, is a little bit of a rub in the face, and let me show you why. A signed Mercedes F1 car. The team that he was just leaving, and if you look inside the car, it is, of course, a Lewis Hamilton model. So if we look at the facts, I stopped him on a nice day out with his partner, asked him for a photo, which was okay, he smiled, and then I rubbed in his face the fact that he was no longer with Mercedes, and made him sign his teammate's model, which he did without hesitation. So I've got to give it to Bottas, an 8 out of 10. It was pretty cool, and it's in Adelaide, so it has to be, right? Now, moving on, I take you to the 2023 Formula One Australian Grand Prix. This is my second time attending the Formula One in Melbourne, and it was pretty cool as I was invited by Aston Martin Formula One team into the paddock with them and to do some work for their media and comms, just as a bit of work experience. And I've got to say, this was the coolest thing I'd ever done in my life, and I was genuinely speechless. Now, I don't have any footage of it, but when I first went to go and meet the person who was walking me through, I bumped into Stoffel Van Dorn in the lobby, and he was saying about how he was adjusting to the jet lag and that he was going for a run. So off he went, and I didn't see him until later on in the day, when I then also managed to have some pretty good conversations with him, because obviously as a reserve driver, you haven't got much to do. So when I was sitting around the motorhome, we were just having a few combos, and it was really great. And also, as well, I was talking with F1 Women's Ambassador, Jess Hawkins. But now moving on to my very first experience working in Formula One. I walked in through the paddock and went into the Aston Martin motorhome, and it was time for lunch, so I served up. At this point, kind of tunnel vision, I was pretty scared. You can understand why. And so I've grabbed my lunch, I've sat down at just any free seat, not really looking around. I'm eating my food, and I look up to my left. Who else but to be next to me other than Fernando Alonso? As you can see in this photo here, I took a photo of my food. That foot that you can see in the bottom left-hand corner, that is Fernando Alonso. And then, obviously, didn't catch this on camera. The coolest thing happened. When he got up to go away and finish his lunch, he walked behind me, tapped me on the shoulder, and introduced himself and shook my hand and said, "Hi, I'm Fernando. Nice to meet you." I said, "Hi, I'm Ethan. Thank you. It's nice to meet you too." It was honestly the coolest thing. Fernando Alonso introduced himself to me. Obviously, he was just being polite, but that's pretty cool. That right there is 10 out of 10 moment. You cannot beat it. And as the day went on, what was on the agenda? The track walk. Of course, as you see Fernando Alonso there. I went on the track walk with the team and Fernando Alonso. Here you go. There's Jess in front of me, and Fernando as well further down. I didn't want to bother them, but obviously sporadically I would be walking next to him and in their conversations about don't go there, do go there, and I actually pointed something out to him. So as you can see, we're walking down the kind of middle straight, and where you have that very fast left-right chicane, I pointed out to him that they'd made a change on the inside curb and that you could now probably take almost all of the curb. And so yeah, that was a pretty cool moment when I just sort of said it in passing, and he turned around and said, "Oh, you're there?" And I was like, yeah. I was talking to one of the engineers, he overheard, and it was pretty cool. And as we're coming around now to the main straight, it was time for a sponsor shoot. As Lance Stroll finally rocked up, he was running late. And that pretty much wrapped it up with the Aston Martin boys for that day. And it was pretty cool. Fernando was amazing. Great first introduction. And then walking around the track with him again, just 10 out of 10s all around. You cannot beat it. And Lance Stroll was a little bit late, so we will give him a 7 out of 10. But he made up for it the next day. But that wasn't it, as at the end of the day, when I was filming with Jimmy for the social media team, Lando Norris came through, and we had a little chuckle, if you can see at the end of this clip, with that mechanic laughing about how, oh, he's too good to scan out. Because as you can see here, he just barges his way through. Watch this. He doesn't scan out. He just jumps through over the bar, and out he goes. And so we had a little chuckle, and he turned around back to me and Jimmy and was like, nah. And then it was time for day 2 with the team, and Lance Stroll was about to come through the Melbourne walk. We got the call. Lance is here. Get ready. This is my first time really filming properly, as I get this nice shot of him waving to the crowd, which was then used on the Aston Martin social media channels. And just filming with Lance throughout this day here was pretty cool, getting the signatures. And while people might get the impression that he's not the nicest on the grid, he actually is just, I think, really shy, because when you talk to him behind the scenes, he was so polite, he was so genuine. I feel bad for the amount of criticism he gets because I don't think it's deserved all the time. So my take on Lance Stroll on this day, 9 out of 10. What can I say? He was such a legend. And this was on Thursday, the media day. So what else is on media day? Press conferences and interviews. So I was taken along to go for the press conferences, where I was stood in a room. There was 11 people. It was myself, Fernando Alonso, Charles Leclerc, Max Verstappen, Zhou Guanyu, and Oscar Piastri, and then one team member for each of them. 11 people in that room. One of them was me. I felt so out of place. I can't really rate that, other than it was cool for me. I didn't really interact with them per se though. But here you can see I was actually in there, and I was meant to be taking some notes for the team, which I did, I think, pretty well. Did a bit of a debrief. But yeah, there you can see. There are the boys. That was pretty magnificent. Now, you know when you're walking down the stairs and someone in front of you is going extremely slowly? Yes, that was somebody wearing a red shirt. I was on my phone writing out my notes, and I was just thinking, this guy's going bloody slow. Like, you can't put one foot in front of the other. And then by the time I got down to the bottom of the stairs, I realized, oh shit, that's Charles Leclerc. Immediately, all my judgments were gone. I was like, that man can do whatever the hell he wants. I am not going to be mad. So then I got this little clip afterwards just to capture the moment that was my sudden realization of like where I was. It was the first time that I had like got caught up in what I was doing and forgotten I was there. So this interaction was a 1 out of 10 turned 10 out of 10, because it went from me being annoyed at this silly man in a black cap to me realizing that it was Leclerc. And then it was time to do some promotional stuff for some sponsors as we got Fernando dressed up in his race suit, and then it was time for him to chuck on a silly bucket hat. For what reason, I don't know, but it made some pretty great content. Then it was time for his seat fitting, which was incredible to see. I got to stand next to Fernando Alonso as he was jumping into an F1 car. Madness. Absolute madness. I mean, just look at that beauty. Like, what a machine, what a man. Then to finish off the day, we had some interviews with the press, and Ted Kravitz was in behind. Now, this is a really great time for me to mention Ted Kravitz. I had a fun interaction with him. So earlier in the day, David Croft had come to meet me in the Aston Martin motorhome. He came through, sat down, and was like, oh, Ethan, nice to meet you. I've been told I should talk to you, because the person who was my mentor was like, let's get Crofty in, because they're friends, and he knows that that's what I'd love to do with my life, is be a commentator. So Crofty comes through, sits down, and I spoke with him for 25 minutes or so, thereabouts, just about life, about work, about F1, just everything. And I've kept in contact with him ever since. Genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, like the most amazing guy in the industry, which obviously then for some reason had sparked on what came next. I saw Ted Kravitz outside of the Aston Martin motorhome, and he looked a little bit lost and looking around, just like making eye contact with a few people, like then made eye contact with me, and I was like, are you all right? Like, do you need a little bit of help or anything? And he was like, I'm looking for a man named Ethan. And I said, yeah, that would be me. What is that? That's not real life. So then had a little chat with me off the cuff, and a bit awkward because he didn't really know why he was meant to be talking to me, and I was a bit caught off guard as well. But it was a nice little chat. A 7 out of 10. But the Crofty one, 10 out of 10. What can I say? And it's not finished there, and this is a bit of a sad one to show now, knowing what has followed since. I met Nick de Vries. Just take a look. What are your predictions for the weekend, Nick?
That fun.
That's the way to do it. Hold on, Nick. First of all, looking back on this, I kind of regret doing this because it's not the kind of content that I want to make. I don't want to come from a fan's perspective. So looking back on that, immediately from a personal perspective, that's rated down. But then also the fact that Nick de Vries didn't really know how to respond. He said to have fun. He then DNF'd in that race, and a few weeks later lost his seat. So I don't know how much fun was had. This is a pretty bad one. My first awkward, maybe embarrassing interaction. It wouldn't be the last, as you'll see what happened in the 2024 Grand Prix. And to finish it off, my final driver interaction of 2023, Yuki Tsunoda I met. I didn't actually film him myself, but here's me talking to him. Just sort of said hi. Hey Yuki, how are you, my friend?
Good, hi.
Good, yourself? Good to meet. Nice to meet you. Oh, that's so cringe. I absolutely hate that. I hate that so much. It's like the awkward, like, I've learned from then. I've learned. I'm not doing this ever again. This is a 1 out of 10. I can't play it again, but I need to. Like the stuttering, I didn't know, like, because he just sort of said hi, and then I was kind of like looking for a response. Hey, how are you, my friend?
Good, hi.
Good, yourself? Good. I said, how are you? He said, good, how are you? I said, good, yourself. I was so nervous. I responded to him asking how he was again. Am I an idiot? I was nervous, alright? Give me a break. I've learned from then. I've got a lot more composure now. Alrighty, so now it's time for the 2024 Australian Grand Prix, where I got a lot more access to drivers of all teams working as social media executives. So a lot of my driver interactions came when I was on the Melbourne Walk and people were coming through in the morning. Some of them were good, some of them were non-existent, and some of them were just super embarrassing. Let's start off with the good ones, shall we? Because nobody wants to see the bad ones. So let's start off with what was arguably the best reaction to the bracelet, Esteban Ocon.
Esty bestie, got something for you, my friend.
Oh, thank you so much.
Much love.
Thank you.
I just hit him with an Esty bestie, much love, and he smiled and said, I think me and Esteban are best friends, or maybe he hates me. Moving on to another good response, I think we'll call it.
Thanks from the Track Limits podcast as well.
Thank you.
All the best.
We hit him with a little thanks from the Track Limits podcast because, as you know, he was on the Track Limits podcast. It was a cute little interaction. He hits me with a cheers and a thank you. That's pretty cool. Moving on. This is Yuki Tsunoda. He's in a bit of a rush, poor guy.
Yuki.
He didn't take it, but it's in my defense, he was running past, and as you can see here, we have some nice action shots. I can't really complain. It wasn't a conscious decision, unlike some of them. Kevin. He didn't take the bracelet. Better than his teammate, though, who didn't try at all. But here we have Lando Norris.
Lando, got something for you, my friend.
Who saw it at the end, grabs it with a smile, pops it straight on. That was pretty cool. Lando was a good sport about it, in a bit of a rush, and trying to look to the fans. And that's the biggest thing, right? Is they're always trying to engage with the fans as much as possible. So when you're trying to interact with them at the same time, they're giving you kind of like half their attention, which is acceptable. The fans are more important than me. Another interesting one was Pierre, who turned back for it, actually. Grabbed it, said, oh, thank you. It was wholesome. It was alright. A driver not many people know, Australian F3 driver, I believe still. Christian Mansell. He's coming through.
Wow.
Let's go.
Beautiful. Good energy from Christian. That's going to be up there. Another awkwardy sort of one.
You want it? No, what?
Stopped in his tracks for me as well. I've got to give him credit. Fist bumps, turns around, and he thinks about it for a second. And he was probably thinking, I don't fucking want this, but I got to take it anyway to humor him. Actually, I take it back. Let's have a look at his wrists. He's already got some on. Have a look at that. Zoom in. He's already got some on, so you know he wanted it. He wanted it, and he says cheers as well. So no complaints. Did he remember me from 2 years prior? No. Thank God, because I don't want to be remembered for my old things. And while we're on the topic of it as well, let's have a look through the video and just quickly get a summary, because I think there's some drivers that I don't have right now. Zhou Guan Yu. That was a good response. Lando. Tight. Lewis didn't take it. Stop the video, stop. That will not make it on the internet. It already has. Alright then, here it is.
I can't read.
Oscar, we got the bracelet for you, my friend.
Thank you very much.
There we go. It's a fail. Should we try again? Alright.
Try again.
Alright, fist bump.
Fist bump.
Thank you. There we go. This is awful. Alright, there we go, and pick it up,
There we go.
Thank you, Oscar.
Thank you.
Sorry, mate.
The worst part about this as well. Okay, sure, the bracelet was dropped 2 times, but this is where I actually find it the most embarrassing, is the fact that I swore twice. Quite unprofessional for me, I can't lie. Kind of out of body experience. My brain was just gone. But it's okay, I think Oscar gets the vibe. He gets it, you know Oscar, he's our boy. Now, I do have to nitpick a little bit here. It wasn't entirely my fault. I've got my hand out holding the bracelet. Now, do you A, pick it up out of the hand like a normal person, or B, put your hand underneath when it's already opened out? Well, let's see what Oscar does here.
Thank you.
Review the tapes. What's he doing yet? Why has he done that? So anyway, I'd go to try and put it in and obviously miss once.
It's a fail.
And then I go to put it back in his hand. And then I realize I need to get the bits. This is the commitment to the content that nobody else will acknowledge. I put myself in social jeopardy with Oscar Piastri for the content. It was literally in his hand and I snatched it back out of his hand. Already 10 out of 10. We'll try again, he says. What a sweetheart. I love that man so much. Anyway, here we go.
Fist bump.
Thank you.
What a cutie, by the way. He's repeating everything I'm saying. Take it from my hand, though. Why has he got it underneath? And then he goes, as he goes to grab it, I drop it. Because I thought, you gotta get it done. And to be fair to him, he was a really good sport about it. He was kneeling over, laughing. He had a big smile on his face. You can't see it right now, but you take my word for it, please. At which point I said to him, and you'll see, just take it out of my hand. And he did. So
Go and pick it up, pick it up. Thank you, Oscar. Sorry, mate.
awesome. So that was that. At which point here you can see me pan the camera over. And I'm thinking at this point it's done, but no, because have a look at this. It was captured from the fan's perspective. How embarrassing. Look at Oscar though, crouched down like a champion, laughing. And Sophie, the McLaren personnel there, she was having a smile as well. But yeah, it was captured by literally everyone. Look at everyone looking at me and laughing. I'm glad I could be of some amusement. Why did I have to do that? Why couldn't it be smooth and cool? He would have liked me. And now he doesn't. Here we have Lewis Hamilton.
Something for you.
He didn't take it, so you'd think it would be low, right? You'd think it was a failed attempt. He didn't take the bracelet. I actually fist bumped Lewis Hamilton though, so that's a 10 out of 10 bucket list item. Without sounding crazy, I touched Lewis Hamilton. You know what I mean? Like that's mind-boggling. But yes, obviously it was a bit failed, but it's okay because we can always rely on the second Mercedes driver to come through strong, and he won't let us down. George Russell would never let us down.
George, got a bracelet for you.
Cheers, thank you.
Ah, damn.
He hit me with the cheers, thank you, in response to me saying I've got a bracelet for you, and didn't take it. Now, was it a conscious decision? Let's review the tape. He goes to grab it, and then removes his hand. But no, because we're actually saved. This is what the media won't show you, alright? But it actually did get captured by the F1 camera producers and was put into the weekend warm-up video. And it was actually put in a meme review, by the way, so I have officially become a meme. Life goal achieved? Yeah. He's actually not looking down, so he didn't see the bracelet. He's looking at the fans, he's on autopilot. Don't think he tried to retract from the bracelet, he just was moving past in his hand. Watch the tape. Slow-mo as well. See, he's not looking, so surely it wasn't conscious. Anyway, I did get snubbed though, by George and Lewis. Mercedes boys, big fat X. But like, okay, while I would say that interaction then is going to be rated lower, it has led to a meme, and I also got this amazing shot of me being avoided by him, which some people would think that's embarrassing, but I just think it's funny as. So yeah. And same with the Oscar thing. Anything that's embarrassing that happens to me, I laugh at myself too. Don't take yourself so seriously. That's what I've learned, because when there's enough cameras on you, you're going to do something dumb. So there you go. And the last one of the bracelets was Australian driver in Formula 2, Jack Doohan, who should get the Alpine seat for next year. Well, look who was right. I said this in July. I've been sitting on this content for a long time now, and I was right from day one. Mystic Ethan, back at it again. Always trust me. What a legend.
Oh, awesome. Thanks so much,
Have a good day.
Oh, awesome. Thanks so much. You see that enthusiasm? That's what everybody needs. And that does it for the bracelet interactions. But it doesn't do it for Lightning McQueen. We all know that Liam Lawson is a Lightning McQueen fan, so I had a little something special for him.
Oh, dude, this is sick.
Have a good day. What a response. Dearest Liam of Lawson is presented with a miniature Lightning McQueen, to which he grabs with absolute excitement, saying, "Oh dude, this is sick, thank you so much." That was pretty funny. That was unironically one of my favorite things I did all weekend. As a matter of fact, I did interact with Liam Lawson another time before this weekend, the Adelaide Motorsport Festival. Liam Lawson made an appearance, and I actually interviewed him as well, which was pretty cool. As you can see in this video here, I am being filmed recording Liam Lawson, and I asked him pretty much, are you ready to jump into the Red Bull seat if you get the call-up? To which he said,
ultimately, I feel ready for Formula 1.
There you go, you heard it here first. Put him in the Red Bull. I love Checo, I genuinely do. And speaking of Checo, I didn't really get too much of him and Max this year. Well, apart from them playing giant Jenga. As you can see here though, we did get Sergio Perez and Max Verstappen playing giant Jenga at the front of the Red Bull Energy Station. But as for driver interactions, it's time we move on now to getting them all to sign the big heads of themselves. And this was one of my favorite things to do. I got all the drivers coming through in the morning that I could to sign these big heads. And every single driver that came through on those mornings actually did sign it, so nobody avoided me this time, and it was really cool because we were able to give those away to the fans who were maybe unable to get their own signatures, and what a way to get it as well. Massive head, epic. Wait, starting off, we had fan favorites Alex Albon. I mean, first of all, look at that man. Here we go. What a smile. What a man! We gotta give that like an 8 out of 10, that was pretty sick. Now it's time we start to churn through these signature ones because we got quite a few. We had Valtteri Bottas coming through on a damn scooter, and we actually had to chase after to get in front of him as well.
Thanks so much.
worked pretty good. Drops us with a no worries. Pretty cool. We love that one. Now we have the man who actually won on this day. This was the morning of his race win. Everybody gets out our way because we own the town, and there we go. What a beautiful signature. Also notice that he has a camera on his cap. 9 out of 10. Then we have the Australian legend, Daniel Ricciardo. Look at this man on his forehead. Signature. Gives us a little cheeky thumbs up, and off he goes. 10 out of 10. What a guy. And a great signature too. Now it was time for the man who snubbed me the day before, and I shot him some dirty looks, don't you worry. But yeah, a little signature, and he was pretty good spirits about it. On we go. Happy days. But it was an average overall, 6 out of 10, maybe? Oh, no, we don't want to see that again. And then it was time for everybody's favorite recent winner, Lando Norris. And he had a bit of a smirk on his face, but then there may or may not have been a photographer who was demanding a photo, which honestly worked out pretty well because I got a cool little shot. But yeah, have a look at this. Like, how cool is this? Look at this shot that I was able to film of him signing a mini helmet. Like, this is just picturesque, like top tier moments of one's life. I can't believe I ended up here, to be honest. Then it was time for the man who actually lost his seat for the weekend, Logan Sargent. Little signature mid-interview. It was okay. But we do give him the pity points since he didn't have a seat. 10 out of 10, Logan, you did really well. Then it was time for our boy, Oscar Piastri. Day 2, he didn't avoid me. He was quite happy with it. Give us a little grin and move on. Wave to the boys, and off he goes. So, no hard feelings there, I sure hope. He's a race winner now as well, so gotta respect that. We then have Pierre Gasly, and by the way, what a stylish young man. We then got the 3-foot tall man himself, a little bit less rushed on this day to sign his own big head as well. But that wasn't the only thing we got him to sign, because we actually spotted someone in the crowd with something pretty cool. We saw someone with a sign that said, "We named our cat Yuki." And of course, we couldn't miss our good friend Zach Brown. He loves it. He loves it. And what might be lucky last, Show Guan Yu signing his own big head too. So we got a few double ups of driver interactions in there, but generally speaking, they were all pretty good, minus the few that we don't talk about. So then, as you may or may not have seen by now, I've had my fair few interactions with Formula 1 drivers. So what is my verdict on them? If I have to be completely unbiased, who brings the best energy? Well, number one, I have to be honest, Oscar Piastri, the most patient driver of all. The way that he handled the situation with me, and like he fully stopped to film the bit in the first place and then continue to put up with my messing up. Obviously, just great vibes, really patient guy. And while Lewis may or may not have just wandered on by, I think he just wanted to get in. And yeah, it didn't turn out to be such a great weekend for them, did it? The Haas boys were a little bit of a letdown in terms of what everyone else put in, but again, similar, you're always happy when you're performing well. And I think that's something we have to take into account, is that these boys at the end of the day are human. If you're not happy being somewhere, it's going to be harder to bring in amazing energy. So what can I say? Daniel brings the energy always, and that's something we can expect by now. And while I personally didn't get any footage from my interaction with him, Charles Leclerc, I'm going to put up some footage now. As you can see here, he was playing cricket in front of the fans. He just stopped on his way in, played a little bit of cricket. It was proper laughs. He actually hit one of my fellow cameramen. Charles Leclerc, great energy too, as his teammate does as well bring. And of course, Liam Lawson, one of my favorite interactions was with him too. So my biggest takeaway from working through all of this is that obviously they are just people, and you start to not see it so much from a fan's perspective as just like a normal everyday worker's perspective. The novelty can wear off, and I think that may just come from mindset. I always try and be as professional as possible. This is why I mentioned with that video before with Nick DeVries, I hate it because that's the only, I swear, and the Valtteri Bottas thing from when I was not actually working in F1 it was the only time I'd ever taken like a selfie sort of thing with an F1 driver. I don't ever want to do that. I never do, because it's a purely professional relationship for me. Obviously within that, then you just become friends, but the second you start to take photos with someone, they'll see you as a fan, and I never want to do that. But I will allow myself to be filmed when shooting proper content, as I was with Guenther Steiner. And this right here is my proudest piece of work ever. Sure, the bracelet video got 4 million views, but this just takes the cake. For me, it was incredible. I need to give some context. This was filmed within 2.5 minutes. One take off the cuff. I didn't have anything prepared before going in. I didn't have anything prepared before going into this. Guenther didn't know what was really happening either, so I had like 20 seconds to explain it to him and start rolling. And that was it. And it turned out absolutely amazing. We did the Aussie slang challenge, and I want you guys just to see it. Incredible vibes. We had a laugh.
I'm almost embarrassed here, you know.
We're here at the Australian Grand Prix with Guenther Steiner, and today we're going to be doing the Aussie slang challenge. To start off, you know what a servo is? The servo.
No, I have no idea what the servo is. I have no idea what the servo is.
Chucky Yui, though.
He was absolutely hopeless.
Chucky Yui. I get it now. I get it now.
Now, what you won't see from the edit that I've made here was I had to feed him that answer with a spoon. Like, it was, and later on as well, there's another one where it looks like he gets it straight away. I just felt bad for him. I had to make it look like he got at least 1 or 2 right. He didn't know a thing, and I was like, come on, give it a crack at least. But he was just like, no. So it could have been a bit awkward if I wanted to take myself too seriously. But then we just started having a laugh about it, as you will see in a second. And it was amazing.
Time of the day.
No.
Moving on. The Botolo.
The bottom. You ask me questions. I don't know this.
So you're telling me we speak a language completely
Yeah, exactly. This is a different language. This is not English. This is a different language. No.
All right.
They don't teach this at school, I guess.
What great vibes, man.
They woke up, didn't feel like doing
This one here.
It's Kawasaki, you know? Yeah.
Fed him that. Oh my god. I was like, just pick up what I'm putting down. Come on, Guenther. Come on.
Johnny.
Whoa. I don't get
Good toilet, Guenther. Come on.
this here, you know? You should have given me Australian lessons.
You know what I mean today? Why do you love the little cheat
Yeah,
sheet?
exactly.
Because when you're walking
the
around
book about this. There must be a book about
I haven't done that yet. Sorry, Guenther.
yarn.
being dialed.
Y-A-R.
Fair enough, though.
Yeah.
He tried.
This is going nowhere.
I think we need to cancel this interview. I don't know
So
anything.
you're having a yarn, it's having a conversation. Like, just about random things, pretty much.
Like we are doing right now.
You heard it here first. Me and Guenther Steiner have had a yarn. Australians hear that and they go, wow, you guys must be best friends. And you know what? We are.
You found these things. I don't even know if they exist. You just make them up.
We might need to have a chat after and sort this out.
Next time. Yeah. So then we had to wrap it up because we were like about to walk into the public area.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you, guys.
How about that? What an experience. This breaks the charts. We've been going out of 10 so far, but you can't even measure this. This was just the greatest experience of my life. Genuinely, maybe the best 2 minutes I've ever experienced. Being able to film content with Guenther Steiner was crazy and in a fun, lighthearted way as it was here. Sure, it's not a driver, but I don't care because he's number 1. So that just about does it. These are all of the filmed driver interactions that I have had, and it's safe to say I'm grateful for every single moment, the good and the bad. The bad shapes you and also makes for a good laugh as well, which is generally how I take it, and I hope you can have a laugh at me too. Let me know, which driver would you most like to interact with yourself? If you could have 5 minutes to sit down and chat with anyone, who would it be, past, present, or maybe even future? And let me know please in the comments, which moment of mine do you think was the best and which was the worst? I've given you some help with that one already, but you make up your own mind. So then, without further ado, that's going to do it for this video. I'd like to think I've had more good than bad moments, and hopefully a lot more to come in the future. Maybe one day we can do an updated version. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed watching all of my brilliant F1 driver interactions. Until next time, make sure you hit that like and subscribe to my channel as well so you don't miss any content in the future. And check out these videos here in the meantime. Take care, and I'll catch you all next time.